Hey, it's James Father's Rights and Resources, hashtag how I got custody. So if your attorney is so smart, and a lot of you got a situation where you might be an every other weekend dad, maybe you got more than that, you got some midweek visits, and you have vacations during the summer, or you split the summer, and in the summer it's 1 week on, 1 week off, or if you live far away, some dads get the whole summers. I just got done talking to a dad where the mother's willing to give him most summers if she can move away halfway across the country. But right now, she's not going to let him see the child um, on one of her days off, or one of her days at work when he's off. So they live in the same city, and she wants to move. Um, when she moves, he can have like most of the summer, but right now he can't have the day that she's off of work. Let's say it's Sunday that she's off, and that she works and he's off, and he could have the kid. He'd rather have the kid go to a babysitter. A lot of you might have a situation like that. The mother doesn't want you to have more than every other weekend, but during the summer you can have 1 week on, 1 week off, or a 2 or 3 week vacation. How come you're able to have the child unsupervised overnight, totally under your control for weeks at a time, but during the school year you can't? How come? How come your attorney doesn't challenge that? The other side is willing to settle with you, or you have an agreed order and you're trying to modify and get more time, or you have a temporary order like that and you already went through a summer. Why? See, your attorney, these idiots, don't even bring this up. How come I can have the kid 1 week on, 1 week off during the summer? We live about 5 miles away. We could do that during the school year. How come we can't do it this school year? Why won't they do that? Why? Just because. That's just the way they do it. And nobody questions it and nobody asks. Because these attorneys are stupid jackasses and they're not fighting that hard for you. They're not advocating for you. And they can't think logically. They're really that dumb. Like I hear case after case like that. I probably should have done a video on this. I think I did something where I questioned this a while ago, but I can't remember exactly what I said or how I said it. So if the summer is good enough, how come the school year isn't? You know what they'll say? They'll say, well, children need stability with one home during the school year. Says who? Anybody who says that is testifying like a child psychologist as to whether, again, the children are already part in these situations. They're already part of a broken family. They're already suffering. So you're saying that they're suffering because of the broken relationships. And so we care more to accommodate the public school system, which is totally corrupt, and that's getting revealed now, how corrupt the school system is, how bad it is, how much kids are failing, how much you throw more money and taxpayer money at the schools, and it doesn't do or change anything. We're going to accommodate that, and the school doesn't even last your whole life. The relationships, like your kid is not always going to be a high school, middle school, or elementary school student. They're always going to be your daughter or son. How come the court is not making the relationship a priority? If you look at most laws in most states, like in Washington, RCW 26.09.002 says the state recognizes the fundamental importance of the parent-child relationship to the child. It doesn't recognize the fundamental importance of the school relationship to the child. See, this is when you guys actually read the laws and pay attention. Some of you guys, you just want a quickie answer. Oh, that sounds good. And you don't think about it and you don't absorb it, or like when you absorb the law and really get it down and understand, okay, this is supposed to be the goal, then you come across something like the summers or the contradiction that I'm saying. You don't think about that because you didn't really care to pay attention to the law. Like you guys just don't think. I mean, it's insane. There's a law that says here's what my rights are, or what the court has to determine as to what my rights will be to my kid the rest of their youth and their young lives. And you just oh, I kind of know it. I know a little bit about it. And then you don't apply it to all these other things. If you know and absorb, like I just thought that off the top of my head because I know the state law. I know California's law. Family Code 3020B says the public policy of California is to maintain frequent and ongoing contact. So if a situation like what I'm talking about is in California, the court wants frequent ongoing contact. If the mother is going to work and the dad is available, part of that goal to make frequent ongoing contact would be to order that the child goes with the father, or the child gets what's called the first right of refusal, or the right of first refusal. He's the first person that has a right to turn down time with the kid. So the father has a right to turn down time with the kid. He's the first one that gets the option. So if you think about the law and put it together with your situation, let's say the situation I just talked about, where the mother has a day she goes to work and she'd rather have the child in daycare or babysitting because that'll give the father more time and it'll be closer to 50-50 or whatever they got going on. She doesn't want that. So she would rather put the child in daycare. But then again, when she moves halfway across the country, she'll give the dad a whole summer. So if that's let's say that's a California case, or if it's a Washington case, the state recognizes the fundamental importance of the parent-child relationship to the child. It doesn't recognize the fundamental importance of the babysitter or daycare. You see, I mean, you're paying a lawyer $300 to $400 an hour, and they can't figure out these arguments that this former warehouse college flunky can think of. Why can't you think of it either? Like I thought of this is the kind of stuff I thought of when I came across the law. Like, I think I mentioned in the last video I did. I was talking at a friend of mine is a lawyer. An acquaintance of mine is a lawyer, and like we don't hang out a lot. We were in college together at one point, so we kind of reunited. And he's a lawyer now, and I'm doing this legal thing. He has me speak at his class sometimes, and I was talking about these types of things where the lawyers don't even like look at the law or apply the law or argue the law on behalf of their clients. And it's crazy because you're an attorney at law going to a court of law to argue the law, but people will barely bring that up in court. Oh, the judge already knows the law. Well, why does it hurt to remind the judge of his job? A referee already knows that traveling is illegal in the NBA. A referee already knows you can't hit somebody late, but they're missing the call and it's right in front of their face. You can remind them of it when they miss the call. You can remind a judge that the law says what it says. You should never assume that a judge knows what he's doing. That judge was a corrupt attorney before who may not have paid attention to the law and did whatever they wanted to do and went through the motions and got used to it. These attorneys and judges get used to doing stuff the way that they do them, and they totally forget about the law and the Constitution and stuff. People talk about it on the news every night if they talk about judicial decisions. They talk about judges legislating from the bench. And your attorney is telling you, let's not go in there and piss off the judge. Like the judge has any say-so. The law is what has the say-so. The judge is supposed to interpret and apply the law. The judge doesn't get a say-so on what you can and can't argue unless it, violates the rules of evidence or something like that. But to say, don't bring up the law in a court of law, I already know it. You're supposed to sit back and hear it. That's a lawyer's job, is to remind them what the law says. Anyway, if you can have frequent ongoing contact in the summer just because the kid's off at school, I mean, why would the parent do that? Because they're willing to let you have the child because they totally trust you with the child. And the law says we care about the parent-child relationship, and all the science says without it, children suffer. So the overwhelming pile of evidence says do this. And if people don't start confronting judges like this and demanding that they make rulings like this, then nothing will ever happen. The system will stay the same. Everybody's whining, crying, complaining about the system and want to do something outside the system. When it counts, when you're in court, say this stuff.